in the game design part where I need people helping with the art part. So it kind of works both ways.
Oh gosh, there's a line now.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one being, I want to start a group of like 5 people max. How would I keep those 5 people together and keep us motivated to work on this one project?
You gotta be friends first. I'm not saying like best friends, but if you're just try to keep 5 people together, you need to at least be like just kind of hanging out socially. Because like if I don't like 3 other people, why would I want to hang out with just that 5 people to include those 3? So I mean that's why kind of what we said we do social events, just the business challenge you synergize. But no, it's just kind of hang out with people and be friendly first off. And then you need to find, like you said, you want to create a project with a 5-person team. Find a project that all 5 of you are like really invested into. Like you all agree that you want to do this.
Find 4 other people you want to do that with.
Yeah,
And do game jam.
and do it as a
Go to a game jam and you can find those 4.
Because at a game jam, it's okay to fail. You know, you got a couple days, you failed at it, but you've learned a lot on what caused you to fail. You use a communication platform like Telegram, so you can just kind of keep in touch with each other when you're not, because you can't all hang out all the time. There are some studios out there that they all live in the same house, and that's their office. But
I could not do that.
But keep in good communication with each other.
And also, like, make it public. Post it on Twitter, on Facebook. Make it, start to grow kind of a fan base. And once you tell it to the world, you're basically, kind of obligated to see it through. So that'll come with that social pressure on everybody.
Get that good feedback.
But also, honestly, if you're not paying people, they have no obligation to you to stick around. So don't get mad at people. Don't, if they fade off from the project or if they, lose interest or whatever, they get a girlfriend and they can't do, game development on the weekends anymore. So that might be, something to also keep in mind.
Or have a baby.
Yeah, Ernest.
Yeah, the other question being, I have no talent whatsoever in making video games. So where would I go to learn something like programming or art?
YouTube,
yeah.
That's the easiest, freest option.
All those tutorials are really awesome.
That too.
Unity has a lot of tutorials, but yeah, YouTube videos on just, Photoshop or modeling, texturing. There's so many really good YouTube tutorial series out there.
Hello. I have 2 things, just quick. I just wanted to say that here in San Antonio, we have the Greater Gaming Society. We're still a small meetup group, but we have monthly meetups. And in case there's any locals in the audience who are interested, we're going to do a game jam in 2 weeks.
I don't know if everyone else can hear you. Could you say the name of your group again?
The Greater Gaming Society? Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. Well, we have the Greater Gaming Society here in San Antonio. We're still pretty small, but we're going to have, we have monthly meetups, and then we're going to do the Global Game Jam in 2 weeks. So if anybody is interested in that.
Can we get how much time we have left?
We got about 18 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
18 minutes.
It's 6:12. You have about 18 minutes.
Okay, so we're going.
And then, so if anybody's local.
That'd be cool. And if you give us your contact information, because you're doing global game jam, right?
Yeah.
We can maybe live stream to each other, do Twitter updates, and it just kind of helps the groups kind of stay motivated when they're communicating and showing off with other groups. Like we can share the same hashtag to share screenshots.
Awesome.
So yeah, you should get with us afterwards.
Cool, awesome.
And there's a secret is you don't have to be local either. We have one of our members creates audio music for our game jams and is not.
Yeah, he lives in Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit.
So you don't have to all be in the same spot. And what was the name of the group? Just so
the Greater Gaming Society of San Antonio.
And how would they find you?
On Facebook, if you just Google San Antonio Greater Gaming Society or search it on Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I just had another quick one. So we don't have a meetup. We don't have a meetup account. Do you guys find you get a lot of traffic through that?
Yes.
It's discoverability. It's a great way for people to find you.
Yeah, especially new people, because when people move into the area, the first thing they'll do is they'll search meetup.com and see what's in the area. And ours is usually the person that shows up for gaming stuff.
And Facebook events is getting better. Their ability to create events, promote events is getting better. So it's there are options on Facebook. Just using Facebook.
Thanks.
Hello, I know you guys do game development. And this question is for all of you. What would you say to someone that's building a PC or an app for a PC or console?
Like what type of advice?
What type of advice would you for a foundation, more or less?
I would try to figure out who are you trying to sell it to. Like, if your average consumer is just going to be like your average Joe that probably has something they got from Best Buy, then I would stick with that.
Okay.
But if you're trying to go for like maybe like a hardcore gamer crowd that has some high-end PC, then obviously target that.
Okay.
You don't want to like fall into the pit of, oh, I made this really cool game, but it only works on my high-end like $2,000 PC, but it doesn't work for Joe Schmo out there who just buys his stuff from Best Buy.
Okay.
And also for like non-gaming apps, there's usually a pretty good startup community for like co-works and whatnot that will also help you out.
Yeah, start looking around to see what groups are even in your area, because there's probably some you don't know about.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
So you guys said that you sometimes have problems with other people that don't have the same kind of style of conversation as you. How do you end up like getting over those difficulties, would you say?
So I don't want to get into any specifics of like any one particular situation, but a lot of it is like on the day of the event. Like I'm a very busy person, so like I kind of with everyone. You basically just have to treat everyone the same. And for me, it's like this sounds like a really great idea. I'd love to talk to you about it, but I'm running this event right now. I can't talk to you. Like I don't even have time to eat. We order like $600 pizza for these events, and I don't even get to eat any of it because I'm running around doing all sorts of things to keep everything running. So like as an organizer, you do have a bit of like a bubble to like keep people away from you that is like it sounds bad when I say it that way, I think.
Yes.
Yes. But like that's not really the way you should look at it.
To be clear, you're talking from a like managerial perspective of you're having to run a show right now. You can't be nice to everyone. Not trying to just be a jerk. It's like I have to be business mode right now. I can't be social mode.
Right, and the other part about it is you really just need to get over whatever it is you don't like. Recognize what it is you don't like about it, and then just say that's how they are, that's who they are, and just accept them for that. And then just kind of ignore that part that you don't like about someone.
And also just talk to them.
Engage with them.
You know, talk to them like adults, and if it's something that they're doing that you don't like, say it, and they'll either change or they won't.
Another thing that happens as you get larger, when you start out, it might just seem like a group of friends, and as you grow, you might have people who just don't really fit into your friend group, but they fit into your game development group. And so, and Craig actually mentioned this, treating everybody the same is very important. So at some point, you might need to develop some guidelines, some rules about your organization. So maybe they can't come in and try to sell something to you. Because we've had people come in to a couple of our meetings and just try to sell us stuff like over and over, and that's annoying. It's like, we're here to have fun and learn and grow our skills, not to like be your customer. So that's just one example, but just having some rules and then making those rules visible.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm actually a board member for the IGDA New York City chapter, and I actually started out going to a lot of the Boston VR and Boston community events, so it's kind of cool to see. But my question is, how do you think you would have done things differently if there wasn't as much of a student presence in your communities, and like how do you think the groups would have developed a little differently, or how do you think they would have built differently if you didn't have as much of a base of students in terms of like a community and space and stuff like that?
So for your question, like how we do things differently if we didn't have a strong student group, are you saying like college and high school students?
Yeah, as in like universities, like having a lot of space time.
The game is we actually did not have a strong college student base. When we originally started out, almost everyone in it was just this independent, just professional. People are already out of college, already had jobs, they're doing this as like a side hobby kind of thing. And at least for Memphis, we're trying to grow more into the student side of things. We still have, I think still probably 75% of the group is postgraduate people.
Yep.
So I can't answer your question because we're already living in your question right now. But if we were to flip it, if we were to start over and we had a majority university student group, one of the things that we ran into at University of Memphis, like they gave us a VR lab. It's very nice at the U of M campus. The problem though with the university's kind of bylaws and stuff, make it so it's really only for university students. If you're like us who are not in college anymore, it's very difficult to use that kind of facilities outside of certain designated hours. So if we were to start over and like 90% of our college base was college students, we probably would definitely have a lot more university presence because the university will basically just give you free rooms and stuff if you're a registered student. Whereas we're coming right now from the opposite end where we're not, like very little of us are college students.
Yeah. And you can make, and if you have a large student body, you can actually make a student RSO, registered student organization. So there's now, this started this last semester, there's a student game dev group on our campus, and I'm their faculty advisor. And so as a student solutions, creating an RSO is helps them get funding, as well as like dedicated rooms and such on campus.
But still look at some of those other related meetups, like if you see art groups or tech groups or music groups even, I mean just people who, even in those groups, they might have, their central theme might not be game development or even technology, but you're gonna find people who play games, who want to, who've always thought about, yeah, it'd be fun to add create a piece of a game, because that's, none of us, at least I don't think any of us create the whole games by ourselves. We're just putting the pieces together, and so everybody can contribute their piece.
Hello, I'm another member of the Greater Gaming Society, and I'm also a Twitch broadcaster part-time. I've seen that some game developers and groups tend to not exactly reach out to broadcasters. I know that the Greater Gaming Society has some broadcasters of their own that sometimes put out the demo of their game on Twitch by reaching out to some other broadcasters. I'm wondering if any groups like Twitch Texas, or if there's even a Twitch group for your state, has ever reached out to you, or you reached out to them to actually broaden the scope of your audience and player base?
No one's actually reached out to us yet, but that is something that I'm looking into, and hopefully in the next year we'll probably have some sort of Twitch presence for doing like our game dev stuff. I know I want to do a little game jam, put that on Twitch, and just our personal stuff. It'd be nice to have, put that on like Twitch Creative for programming and stuff.
Well, that's my question. Thank you.
There's about less than 10 minutes left, about 8, so we can get these things as quickly as possible. But hi, I'm part of a game development, small group that kind of spread across the world, mostly in America and Spain. And we already kind of have our project starting to work on that. We're a little bit behind, but we have no real deadline, so we're just trying to make sure everyone is good, and we're all kind of collegiate. But I did come from a university with a good game design program, and another thing I do is there's also there's 2 things a year where it's the 72-hour jam, where you have to do something in 72 hours, and usually it's just game, it's level design, so it's making a functioning level with as little bugs as possible. What I would like to know is, because the group that I'm part of is kind of just a small group, like about 12, 13 people who are just kind of in private, if we want, and one of the things we don't work, okay. Sorry. Any advice for looking for new talent?
For looking for talent.
Yeah.
Like new artists. What?
Yeah, as we go down the pipeline, we want to see if there's any extra holes to fill.
Is this as in to fill like your group? Are you from like an indie studio, or more from an indie meetup group? Like, What's the goal of your
It's
collective?
still an indie meetup group because we haven't finished that. We're still working on the paperwork on the back end, or at least our managers are. But we're trying to actually become a studio.
So that's going to be different because once you become a studio, your focus is no longer on the community, it's on the profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But just keep that in mind. You have distinct goals.
Yeah, it's a more of a product than. But as far as like forming a team and advice for forming a team and looking for talent, that's a completely different question than just doing it. But when your purpose is to do an LLC, it's very different. But as far as discoverability, like partnering with other groups, like find the art group in your town and be like, hey, let's do an event and find like whatever the overlapping piece is between your two groups and then do a joint event together. Like both groups go up in numbers when you do things like that.
Also, check out Unity Connect. Unity Connect is Unity's new like social job platform where artists and developers can connect, and you can put out tasks, and other artists can come fill those tasks. And I would check that out. That's they just created it like not even a year ago, but it's getting a lot of usage. Unity Connect is what it's called.
What's the it's .com or .org?
If you just Google Unity Connect, I don't know what the exact URL for it is.
I think there's another question behind you.
Connect.unity.com is probably the URL for it.
Thank you.
And you might also be able to reach out to some other groups that already exist that have a job board.
All right. Also, 5 minutes. Sorry.
Thank you.
So for probably a lot of us, we might be starting our first groups. So what were some of the challenges that you guys faced when you were first starting out, trying to get members, or you have a few groups of people that start working on a project they really like, and then you get new blood, and so now it's like trying to avoid clicks and things like that. So what are some of the things or the problems that you had to overcome when you guys were first starting out?
Honestly, the hardest thing was just actually starting it, because we weren't actually the first game dev group in Memphis. There was another guy who ran it for a year or two before he kind of went away, and for the longest time, there just wasn't anything there. So I just kind of stepped up and just did it. We didn't have a location or anything, so we were meeting up at the library or coffee shops or whatnot, even my own apartment at some point. But that and just kind of getting the word out, was just going to meetup.com really helped out with that. Facebook is good, and so is Twitter for people who were looking for that kind of thing.
And actually sharing on those, don't just create a page or a Twitter account. Actually have to share it, stuff daily.
So
also, one challenge that I just remember is having topics to talk about.
The other thing is all of us, we're like a little bit older actually, and so there's probably some platforms out there that we should be using that we're not to connect to some younger people.
So another issue is that as an all-volunteer organization, no one's getting paid. You can't rely on one person to always be able to do that one thing. So you really need to spread out your responsibility, or you're gonna have problems where you're like, hey, you're supposed to bring the tech stuff, and something came up in life. So that is a challenge. Is getting enough people that are invested enough in the group who can help out and get events organized. And that's part of like getting beyond just your own little group, and getting it to where and being comfortable shifting responsibility and trusting someone else to be able to do it. But also make sure you have multiple people that you're trusting and not just putting out the onus on one person to do the task.
And the clicks happen. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You want people to connect, to work together. But you can dissolve those clicks at things like game jams where you choose a new team.
Yeah, it's also kind of the point of the game jam is because when you first do a game jam, it's supposed to be 30 people show up and they all form new teams at that time. So it forces you to work with people you don't normally work with.
Another pitfall in the Memphis game devs, like when we were first starting out. See, I was not part of the founder team. I joined it, I think, probably 6 months after you guys were in existence. And when it's really small, when it's like less than 10 people in a room, there's definitely kind of that, I would say stage fright, because it's more like you walk in, it's like, I don't know these people, they don't know me, no one's interacting with me. And I was looking to tell you, like, screw this, you guys are going to file a police report, kick me out, and let's keep coming to this, and force myself in here. But other people will not. Like, I think we had a lot of people that would show up for one meeting, and then maybe leave after 30 minutes because they didn't really feel engaged, or like they, whether they, we don't know why they left too. Or did they just not like it? Or did they realize it wasn't a thing? Or was it maybe we weren't welcoming enough? One of the things I said, if we did have to kind of like start it like completely from scratch, I would say our first couple of meetups would just be at like a bar or a coffee house or something more relaxed. Because I started knowing we were meeting at the maker space. So I was like, let me walk in this tech garage and all this technology around, and I just showed up, I don't know what I'm doing. So that was years ago. Now I know what I'm doing.
And don't be afraid to, because so we've had speakers who go way over their allotted time.
Like,
don't be afraid to just step in and walk up and just kind of say like, hey, or say last question, because it's probably about to happen to us right now. But don't be afraid to be that person. You're not being mean. You're trying to keep everything scheduled and on time. And kind of thing. I believe we have one more question.
I was just going to ask about the links that you all posted and how to read more into everything that you all have talked about today.
If you just Google Memphis game developers, yeah, if you Google Memphis game developers, you'll see, there's articles, our Facebook page. We post a lot of stuff on there. Meetup page, and
we've also got some business cards up here as well.
Yep, like plenty of cards and that's all.
I do have one question. It's harder for me to stand up, but I'm pretty loud most of the time. Do you guys find that you have a hard time getting female developers engaged? I mean, I noticed you guys are all guys, but I know women are trying to get more into STEM fields, and they're trying to really get women engaged in STEM technologies and stuff like game development. Do you guys have a harder time finding women, or do you market to get women to come, or?
I think we've had a few female developers come and stay for probably like 6 months to a year. But I don't know if this is just the effect of our region, like, because Memphis is not, it's not like East Coast Boston where you have a strong tech, or West Coast Silicon. So we got people that come and go. So whether they left just because they found other jobs in other cities, or if it was part of the group where they just decided to like game dev, it's definitely like an active goal of ours to increase kind of our diversity balance. But right now, yes, it is a very male-dominated group, unfortunately.
A lot of it is just intimidation. Like if you go to an event and you're the only woman there, it's intimidating. So what we've done for Boston VR is we have another group that's like a women in VR group. And they don't actually do their own separate events. What they do is they have their own like a let's go to a bar and meet up, and then all the women they'll talk through the kinds of things that maybe parts of things that, well, I really like Boston VR, but there's this thing, and there's something they can talk about that, from my experience and my background, I wouldn't be able to understand. And by creating that separate group, we've had tons of women that go to that, and then they all go to the Boston VR group together. So it was made in a way of trying to break that barrier, and basically by having it where it's like, oh, it's just going to be just women, it takes away a lot of that intimidation.
Right.
And it's really helped, but it's not a separate group. It's just like hey, we're going to go talk about things, and then we're going to go to the event, and we're going to have an awesome time. So
there's a Memphis group called Women in Computing, and I've spoke there before to talk about game development. Unfortunately, none of them were interested in game development. They were all interested in high-level research, which is good. But yeah, it is a challenge for us. I think we're out of time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to find out more information about us, just Google Memphis Game Developers. We're all over the first page, and there's a lot of information about us on Facebook and meetup.com.
If you do want to talk to us, we're actually going to have to be outside the room.
Yeah, we'll be right out here.
Yeah. So we'll be just outside on the right side here. So we have plenty of business cards and things like that.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's what we have. Be friendly to everybody. That's the easiest way to get a meetup going. Be friendly.
Just be like me.